Most people, thank you, in life actually know about this, and I know youth leaders and youth that are in here, some of you have already listened to this a little bit. So if you've listened to this before, you'll know that this is actually a second chance for me. So, kind of funny. So in our life, right, we go through, and I want you guys to reflect on some of these things, second chances, like how many have you been given in your life, right? Right? And are you even able to count how many? So we talked about this a little bit again with youth and different things, but you start off as a kid and you don't even think about it. You get second chances almost your entire childhood. Like the whole time you're growing up, you're making tons of mistakes, you're doing all kinds of things wrong, right? Your parents love you, they're going to forgive you, okay? So then a paradigm shift kind of happens, right? We get to be grown-ups. We turn into a grown-up, and now our second chances look a lot different because now the risk is so much more. So sometimes, we're again, weighed down with responsibility, life, whatever. We got the next thing going on. So when you make the mistake, sometimes it really hurts. And sometimes you don't get that second chance. Okay, so love the idea of a second chance. Love the idea of this. Okay, and then those scenarios where we need a second chance are different. A grown-up second chance is just so different. Sometimes you don't get grace. Sometimes you don't get forgiven. Sometimes you don't get it, okay? So I'd like to talk a little bit about Samson. We all know the story of Samson, I hope, and if you don't, I'll go ahead and give you like a Cliff Note version of it, okay? Samson was like a man's man, right? Hugely buff, killed stuff often, just married masculine, okay? Huge. So we're going to go ahead, because God gives him the ability, in Judges 13 here, we're going to read Judges 13, 1-5. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, so the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. A certain man of Zorah, named Manoah, from the clan of the Danites, had a wife who had been sterile and remained childless. The angel of the Lord appeared to her and said, "You are sterile and childless, but you are going to conceive and have a son. Now, see to it that you drink no wine or other fermented drink, and that you do not eat anything unclean, because you will conceive and give birth to a son. No razor may be used on his head, because the boy is to be a Nazirite, set apart to God from birth, and he will begin the deliverance of Israel from the hands of the Philistines." So, Samson's path as a young person was pre-made for him. He was given to the Manoah, given to them so that he could deliver them from the Israelites. So he actually had a path, and this path was made for him, okay? So we go through and look at this, and again, we're going to read some more here. This path literally was not going to be one, I guess, that he was completely aware of, right? So we look at paths and we think, okay, what does a path look like? It's wide, it's open, right? There's probably different ways you can go. So this path was made. So we're going to go ahead and read Judges 13, 24 to 25. But his wife answered, "If the Lord had meant to kill us," the woman gave birth to a boy and named him Samson. He grew, and the Lord blessed him, and the Spirit of the Lord began to stir in him while he was in Mahanan Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. So that stirring of the Spirit, it doesn't talk a whole lot. We just know that for some reason he goes from being a boy, right, and then he turns into a man all of a sudden. Not really much of an explanation of his teen years, right? Not really saying anything about, what it looked like. So a lot of what I think of when I think of Samson growing up is like, it's like you're leveling up in a video game. So you're going, right? You're just small, and you're developing, your hair starts to grow, and it's like, you hear that Mario sound like, cha-ching, they go up another level, cha-ching, they go up another level, and they just keep going. So he's a Danite, right? So his hair is his power, right? He already said his hair is his power, so his hair is here, okay? Wait, here goes another level. Cha-ching, right? Cha-ching. And he just keeps getting swell as he keeps going bigger and bigger, and he just keeps getting older and older. So anytime I think of Samson, it's a cool idea for me because I play video games, and I like that stuff. So to think of that. So the path was made and everything. As a baby, he wasn't told to go save Israelites. As a adolescent or a teen or a toddler, he wasn't like, hey, I'm swollen right now, and I'm going to go take care of people. Right? So it actually goes from him being a kid to all of a sudden he's a man, right? And we're going to read here 14:1. So Samson went down to Timnah and saw there was a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. So again, he's a boy, kind of grows up, levels up, ching, right? He goes somewhere, sees a woman, says, yep, I want that one. And I'm like, okay, this is a very quick story. You don't hear much about courting. You don't hear anything about it. All of a sudden, it's, I want to make this woman my wife. Like, well, that's pretty far ahead. Okay, right? Okay. So, interesting part about that part is what's weird about this marriage is like, okay, why was Samson brought to the world? Why was he brought to the Israelites? To stop the Philistines. So then all of a sudden, Samson's like, well, she's hot. I'm going for that. Right? And it's a Philistine. So he's going to marry him. He's going to deliver himself from her. Right? Well, what does that look like? That's weird. Right? So the whole time I'm wondering, okay, this is his first mistake. It's got to be his first mistake. Because you don't hear about anything about his teen years, right? You just go right into, hey, I'm going to marry somebody. Right? So he makes his first mistake. He's going to go, I'm going after a Philistine for my wife. Okay? And then it's interesting, again, that purpose. Him knowing and having a full knowledge that this is why I'm here. The truth is in him. He already knew the truth. But he goes after a Philistine woman. It baffles me. It just, anyway. Men are men, right? You hear me, ladies? Men are men. Okay. So now Samson gets married, does some stuff, right? He goes through and that first, marriage thing, she's a Philistine woman, so all the Philistines are always trying to get him to do stuff. So literally, his first wife, Samson thought it'd be funny to create a riddle that they couldn't solve, right? Just a riddle. So that in this riddle, they're going, right? She knows it, she tells the people, and the people are trying to figure it out. Well, people get upset, right? So I think it was 7 times. 7 times, literally tried to go and approach, and Samson just messing with them, giving them misinformation, saying all kinds of stuff like the wrong things, right? And then literally, for whatever reason, this girl decides it's a good idea to keep crying. So in the Bible, it actually says she sobbed for 7 days. And I was like, okay, sobbing for 7 days. 7 days for sobbing. So his joke was that good, right? His whole whatever was that good that she's going to sob for 7 days. So when I hear that, I'm like, sobbing, crying. So like, I picture Samson sitting down eating something, and beside him just, right? Like the entire time for 7 days, just everywhere he went. Like it's crazy. Like how could you do that for 7 days? I would be exhausted after one day. You ever try crying for a long time? I did it one time. That was it. I didn't do it again. So I imagine him being a manly man, being this, kind of big, kind of stud he is, okay? He probably didn't have a whole lot of patience because I don't know if I'm super huge and super strong and giant masculine and I just point at a woman and say, be my wife, and she's my wife. And I would imagine he probably doesn't have a whole lot of patience. So for 7 days, this woman cried. I mean, I don't know if there's such a thing as sleep crying. Can you do that? Like, it's just wow. Can't get over that. So he finally tells her, which we're going to go ahead and read this, but finally tells her the secret to the riddle. 7 days later. 7 days. Now, 14, 10. Now his father went down to see the woman, and Samson made a feast. There was a customary bridegrooms, which was customary for bridegrooms, When he appeared, he was given 30 companions. "Let me tell you a riddle," Samson said to them. "If you can give me the answer within 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. If you can tell me the answer, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes." And he says, "Tell us the riddle. Let's hear it." He replied, "Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet." So this riddle messed him up. I loved it. Again, loved hearing about it, loved knowing about it. I still just can't get over those 7 days of crying. That 7 days of crying was like, I don't even know. Had to be something interesting there. Now we're going to move into Judges 15. So when we go into Judges 15, you can feel free to read ahead. Again, a lot of this story you know about. So a lot of these nuanced things I talk about, it's just something I found interesting. So if you don't know, I'm an engineer, so when I look at things, it's like, okay, again, sleep crying. Who would have thought of sleep crying? I have that extracurricular mind that kind of thinks like that. It's like, wow, is that possible? So in Judges 15:16, we're going to go ahead and read that. Oh, actually, we're not going to read that. So in Judges 15, I'm going to go ahead and cliff note it real quick. So what it is he's a man now, okay? He's burning against the Philistines. So something happened to his wife. It was terrible. And again, I'd love for you to read it on your own if you don't know about it. So somehow, he's ready. He's burning against the Philistines. He wants to really do something terrible to them, just terrible. So what he does, somehow, runs around and catches 300 fox. 300. So if he's catching 300 of these, one, were they all just huddled together hanging out? Right? It just says that all of a sudden he caught them. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. I would imagine it was a process. It probably had a trap. No, don't really say anything. All of a sudden, there's 300. Poof, I have them all. I don't know how he had them. Did he hold them all by their tail, 300 of them, I guess? Or tied them together or something? I don't know. So he uses these fox all of a sudden, takes their tails, ties them together. I don't know about you, but I'm just thinking about a fox going, how did he even remotely get close to, one, catch it, but two, now you're going to tie their tails together? Have you felt a foxtail? It's like all bone. It's like the bone all the way out to the end almost. How are you going to tie that? They don't have tape. There's no Scotch-Brite or anything back then. There's nothing that's going to help them bind these things together, right? So he catches them, 2 of them. He has a torch hanging off the end. He lights the torch. And he does this, again, all 300 of them, ready? 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, tie a tail together, put a torch on the end, lit the torch. How do you light 300 torches? Right? It's like everything about this, my brain is just going, I have way too many questions. This is really frustrating. Right? Somehow, he does this miraculous thing. So, I don't know, I guess it was a miracle. They all probably lined up really nice and neat, and we're all polite, nodding, yes, sir, right? Lights the torches. They run off, and it burns up an entire Philistine fields. Like all of them, just burns it all up, right? I don't think a fox would have been my choice to go burn a field up, but Samson, being the stud he is and the man he is like, you know what? I can catch a fox. They're the most cunning animal in the world. Yep, I'm going to send these fox out to do my job. So, legitimately, this happens. Burns the fields up. Philistines are super angry now, right? Super angry. So what do? They go up to the closest Israelite and probably just walked up and just kicked him in the shin. It was like, I don't like you. So they're mad and they're doing stuff to him. So they get so mad, the Israelites, and again, Samson's an Israelite, so mad that 3,000 of them head to a cave, because when you're a stud, you hang out in caves, apparently. You hang out in this cave, and 3,000 guys come and want to give Samson over to the Philistines. Okay. 3,000. They can't all be talking. Nobody understand anything. So they probably had one guy that was probably like the strongest one of the 3,000, I guess, that wasn't Samson. And they were talking to Samson. Samson, we're going to take you to the Philistines. Now, again, man's man. Samson's like, probably in the back of his mind going, I could crush all of you. Okay, all right, okay, yep. So he makes terms with the Israelites and says, if you do not kill me, I will let you take me to the Philistines. So they tie something on his hands, right? To them, it probably would look like this thick rope, real strong and thick. And Samson's on it probably was fishing line, you know? So they tie him up. They start taking him over. They take him all the way out, right, to the Philistines. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So for me, if I'm thinking about, again, I'm Samson, ready? Okay. I'm letting them tie me up, even though I'm hugely buff and they can't really do anything about it. I'm going to let them walk me over here, so I'm going to start walking over here. I imagine as he started walking closer to the Philistines, like he started having like that little kind of a gang swag, like dropping down, walking up to the Philistines, because he's going to do something. He's about to do something, right? And I think it's interesting too. So they talk about these bindings just basically turning into brittle something and they just fall off, right? And this is the part I find most interesting is he's walking up, right? And if you don't know this story, this is why it's awesome to me. He's got his swag on. All of a sudden, he's near a Philistine. He breaks him. And I cannot understand it, but it's there. It's in the book. He looks over. Hey, look, jaw of a donkey. Wow, pick that up. And I'm going to use this to kill 1,000 people. That's, what? If anybody's ever dealt with bones, you know they're not that hard. They break actually kind of easy. And you're going to use this to bash another guy's skull in 1,000 times? That had to be one swollen donkey, right? I just can't get over it. Hey, a Philistine. Whoa, donkey's jawbone. Let's go. I can't even imagine that. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, how is this even possible that a bone like that, like how to use it? Like, you know the shape of a jaw. Did he hold it in like a boomerang and, did he flip it over and poke him with it? I don't know. Like, it doesn't really say. But all of a sudden, literally, with the jaw of a donkey, he kills 1,000 people. And it's so matter of fact, too. Like, I would imagine it took 10 minutes, 1,000 people. You guys think that's possible? 20 minutes. Wait, 30 minutes. Right? We don't know, right? It goes there, you don't talk about it. But this huge, awesome feat happens. And to me, God probably put that jaw of the donkey there. Because if I'm God and I have a vessel that's doing my will, if I was to give Samson a sword, wouldn't that seem easy? Right? What if I gave him a giant spear that was long enough he could just run in one swoop and kill 1,000 people? Right? So many other things could have happened, but it says he grabbed the jaw of a donkey. When I look at how God uses people, he does use the least of these, but he just made this massively swollen stud that's going in to fight these 1,000 men. Well, how do you make this giant, massive stud look a little weak? Jaw of a donkey. Like, God had to have had his hand on that jaw. God had to have made it super strong and never break. God had to have made Samson look so weak by grabbing a bone to kill 1,000 people. Ready? So then Samson decimates these 1,000 people. And then at the end of it, still got a bone, right? God used a bone to send a message to these thousands of Philistines. Okay? So I appreciate this. So I like this smack talk that Samson does. It's pretty genius when you think about it. It's almost a pun, and it's interesting you see a pun in the Old Testament. So 15:16 here. So he kills them all, right? He's holding the bone in his hand. He goes, with the donkey's jawbone, I made them donkeys. With the donkey's jawbone, I have killed 1,000 men. Drop the bone. Right? Very interesting. Again, who's he talking to? He just killed 1,000 men. So, he's swollen, he's big. He's like, yeah, I just made donkeys of you, even though none of them can hear them because they're all dead on the ground. So, again, It's a smack talk. It's really interesting that he does this. And I'm like, well, this makes total sense. I'm a swollen dude. I'm a big guy, right? I've been dominating everything my whole life, right? Killed lion, kill stuff. I got to say something. Can't just walk away. So he says his thing, and literally, that's what happens. So fast forward a little more. So 20 years later, right? The first wife didn't work out. Kills 1,000 men. 20 years later, he meets another woman. You're going to notice a theme here pretty soon. So this woman is the one he tells his secret to. The secret to his strength. Do you all know the name of this woman? Delilah. Yeah, it's a really popular name even today. Delilah's such a pretty name. So again, it's one of those things. Samson goes somewhere. Hey, I like you. You're mine, right? So, and what's interesting again, so in his wager, he did 7 days of whatever. She cried, sobbed, again, figure that one out. For 7 days, okay. He meets another woman. This one is going to be the one that undoes him, but he doesn't know that yet, right? He just likes her. So he goes, on a little bit, and she's told, hey, by her Philistine brethren, hey, figure out the secret to his strength. So they go, right? And what does she do? Tries to trick him. Wait, so first wife, 7 days of trickery, then this one, 3 days. And on the fourth one, she says her secret. She says the secret. Sorry, he says the secret. I'm like, so moral of the story, Philistines play games. They like to trick people, but he keeps going back to Philistines. And his purpose is against Philistines, but he keeps going after Philistines. So it's like that forbidden fruit all over again. It's like, okay, so this is where he goes. This is what he is. So Delilah enters his life, and literally 3 times he said a bunch of random stuff. And as you read this, again, it's a story you should read and be familiar with because the story of his life is interesting. He goes 3 tricks. 3 tricks didn't work. So then, for whatever reason, Samson has a mental lapse that he's not supposed to tell the secret. Well, he tells the secret on the 4th one. Fourth secret, all right? What happens when you cut my hair? I lose my strength. Cool. So he goes to sleep and literally sleeps, haircut, wakes up, no strength, eyes burned out. The end. It's over. So we think, right? But you read on. They think they got him. They did. They took his eyes, right? He's got a buzz cut now, probably a little bit of a fade here, right? He's short-haired, and he's weak and powerless. So the Philistines feel like they won, right? They just killed the champion of the Israelites. Just killed him. Oh, yeah. Well, he's not dead, right? They just burned his eyes out. So they take him to a nice little jail cell, probably had good food and everything. That was a joke. But anyway, so he's in prison, and he's starting to do this thing. It's called rotting, I guess, when you sit somewhere for a long period of time, right? He's rotting in jail. He's just sitting down there, okay? Philistines all but forget the memory of him, right? He's been sitting down there now for years, Well, Philistines being, Philistines were like, we have a god. His name's Dagon. Let's throw a party. So I don't know if you guys know this. Philistines weren't real bright, but, Dagon, I guess, was a god, like God for us. So they have this temple. It's a huge temple. It's massive. They invite kings, queens. They invite a bunch of people, with 3, 4, 5, 6,000 something people, all in this temple to where this temple was full, right? This temple had everything in it. It had people on the top level, middle level, bottom level. They were just everywhere, okay? So Samson's coming up. They're going to show off their trophy, which is Samson, right? Make a little display of him. So they bring him up. He comes up and he tells the servant, hey, could you put me next to the largest pillars? I'm thinking the whole time, while he's in that jail cell rotting, he's doing like he was when he was a kid. Just start leveling up. Cha-ching, 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 right? They ain't cutting his hair down there. There ain't no barber down there. Right? So by the time they go to have this party, I imagine he's got a mane just coming down the back, right? He might not be able to see nothing, but I would imagine his biceps were back to being massive. Nobody really noticed because he didn't have eyeballs. They were just focused on how ugly his eyes looked, right? So he's massively huge again. He gets put in between these two pillars, probably told the servant, man, my arms are so heavy, I just need to put them on something strong. Right? So literally, they put him in this thing. They're doing that crazy, we're having fun, the Philistines, they're going nuts. They're like going, okay. And then that's when Samson does his thing. So his thing was probably not the thing he wanted to do. Like when he was born, he had a path, and that path was in front of him. I don't think he thought in his path he'd have to die. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't see in his path that he'd lose his eyeballs, right? But it was his path. So he's in this moment now. He's going between these two pillars, and in this moment, this is when he cries out to God and says, Lord, give me strength. He pushes the pillars, and the whole temple falls. Again, I don't think that's what he wanted in his path. So he made the mistake of telling his secret. He's made mistakes with his Philistine wives. He's made mistakes, lots of mistakes. And in that moment, he was given that second chance, after all these mistakes, after all the things, to do the will of God, to do it. I thought that was, whoa. So, it says in here that actually when those temple fell, the amount of people killed, and it says this, killed, was almost twice the amount that he killed in his actual life. So that 1,000 compared to the 4,000 from one action. Again, he had a path. He saw his path. He knew his path. He kept forward. He kept going. So talk about Samson to talk more about second chances. It's very evident. His second chance was probably not very fun. Probably didn't look too good because who wants to just go and die? Nobody wants to be a martyr, right? You don't seek your life wanting to be a martyr. Okay, but his second chance was there. So I talk about a tree. As a baby, you know, these paths look weird. When we decided to be Christian, we've decided to follow a path. There's a path to go on. But when I think of this path, it's more like a tree. So at a trunk, you're a baby. And as you get older, you know, it becomes a full tree. Okay? And then you just take a strip straight up that tree. And make it decently wide. Give yourself some forgiveness, because that's what God does. He forgives us for a lot of things. But there's a path through the tree. So yeah, as a baby, you don't really have much choices. You don't really need any second chance. You're a baby. You don't really know anything. Toddler, you need a lot of those second chances. He starts going like crazy, right? Then you get a little longer out here, and you got different paths. So now, you're a grown-up. Now, again, I didn't decide to take the path until I was a teenager. So I had a path. I didn't know what it was. So I accept Jesus, and now my path was made. So in this tree, right, I'm in this tree. And then I love to think of it like this, because this is the way life is. So you've began this path on this tree. You started to branch out. You have options. You have things you can do, tangible things, sometimes spiritual things. Sometimes it's growing seasons. There are things to do, okay? But as you walk up, you see the path. Well, as soon as I became a Christian, I saw this. It was, oh, this looks rough. As I begin to look in this path, the end is beautiful. I want the end. The end is where my heart is. I want the end. But to get started, I had to go through all this rough stuff. I had to navigate through stuff to try to get to my end. Right? Again, the end, absolutely beautiful. Want it, own it, what I want to have. So I see the end, I see it's rough. So I do this classic thing where you take that one step forward only to take two steps back. But notice my face. It's going down the path. I'm trying, and it doesn't seem like I'm gaining ground. But I want to keep trying because it's my path. Right? I've owned it. As soon as I accepted Jesus Christ to say, Jesus, you're my Lord and Savior, this is the way. Okay. So I do it again, take that step, 2 steps back. Maybe I take 3 steps, 1 step back. I'm starting to gain ground. But I keep moving. There is no way in this world I will say anybody is perfect enough to not take a step backwards. No one else in this world is going to say they never took a sideways step. Sideways step being, I know I need to do this. I don't really want to, right? Walk away from the step, move away. That action of being uncomfortable was really real. Samson had a nice fluffy existence, apparently. He just picked his wives, right? He kills people with donkey jaw bones, and then he kills 1,000 people throwing a building down. Wouldn't that be nice if your path was that easy? Right? So our paths, right, we're in today's world doing our things. Are we taking a step forward? Are we holding still? Are we going sideways? Second chances are a gift. God just happened to know we needed a lot of them, did this cool thing like give us Jesus. Jesus gives us access to these second chances. We wouldn't be able to do that. We'd be sacrificing animals. It'd be Old Testament stuff. Okay? But these second chances are a gift. So I've been given a gift. I see the path. It's hard. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. It looks uncomfortable. I don't know about you. I got all this stuff going on. I don't have time for this. Right? I don't want to do it. That's hard. I'm going to go the easy way. Come on. But, oh, wait, I was given a gift, and I was allowed to have a second chance. So I made that reference earlier when I said talking about second chances, and some of the youth leaders and the youth in here know what I'm talking about. So you've heard me talk about this again. So I've had a second chance to talk about something that's hugely important in our lives, hugely important that gives us our next step. So I love Disney movies. Disney movies are interesting to me. Frozen 2, my daughter loves this stuff, so I watch it. There's a song in there, and the song is literally titled, Do the Next Thing Right. I watched that, and I was like, all right, Disney, you're talking to an adult now. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay? So right now, I'm on my path. It's hard. I step forward. I take 2 steps back. I have to do the next thing. I want to do the next thing because I want to see my end. So I take that next step. This time, it sticks. Oh, great. I keep working and I keep working. I don't know if it ever gets easy. I think it gets easy when you're no longer here. Right? I call it a tree because you're going to go out of the path, back in the path. You're taking a route to this destination, but how you get there is you. And how far you get on it is you. So, you guys know I have ADHD. I don't like standing still at all. It bothers me. It's like standing up and moving around. So imagine me trying to do this right path, having ADHD. I go the wrong way a lot. Sometimes I circle around. Okay, but I still move and I still go. I still have a heart to go. Right? Some of us, we get tired and we're just done. We don't want to do this anymore. Some of us, again, I hate to say this, most of them are not here, just walk away from the path. They'll accept Jesus and be like, I don't like to do this anymore. I have a friend at work. I was talking about this message. He was a full-blown Christian, full elder, full everything in a church. He was a hugely prominent member of a church. Goes through a divorce, decides he doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. So I'm working with him, and I will go ahead and say he's a very colorful person. So, yeah. So for whatever reason, this guy is bonded with me, and I kind of bonded with him because I'm an energetic person, and he's an energetic person. He likes to work hard. I like to work hard. It's kind of like his kismet. This is good stuff. So I work with him. I do stuff with him. So I was spinning this off, and I said, hey, I'm going to talk about Samson. Are you okay if we talk about some Bible stuff? I know you know it. He goes, yeah, that's fine. I said, oh. I start talking about these second chances. I describe this tree, right? I describe what it looks like to be on the path, the 2 step forward, 1 step back, going sideways and just walking away. And it was so interesting to see this man. Again, been working with him now for 2 years, right? It was a somber look on his face. I'm almost excited to go to work tomorrow because I have no idea what's going to come out of his mouth next. So in this moment in your life right now, you know your opportunities and where you are. You know where you could be, right? I'm too tired. I can't. I don't want to. Excuses. I will go ahead and say I take 3 steps back to my 1 step. I just can't ever seem to gain ground. But if I take my face and stop going this direction, and I decide to go a different direction, whoa. How much more do you need that second chance? And again, did you realize that was the gift? The gift you got, that at this moment, now, you could be right, good, great. You could be whatever. Whatever it is that pushes you forward on the path, you could be whatever this looks like. But it has to happen now, and if it didn't happen now, ask for your second chance. Try something else. So, you can hear my energy on this, and you can hear my words, and I'm hoping it's the truth is just showing up in your face right now. Why not now? So I'm helping, right? I'm a youth leader. I give sermons and messages to youth, okay? I'm hugely invested here, okay? I'll be frank, my plate was very full when this opportunity presented itself. Very full. So I prayed, talked to my wife, talked to some people, and I had to take things off my plate in order to fill this one back up. So I had to quit school so that I could do this 100%. Because, I hate to say it, school is hugely important, and I am going to go back. In this season right now, the youth are more important for me. Where are they going? When are they going to start the path? And who's helping them on the path? So I was hugely activated. I'm going this way, and I'm going to do this. And I had to quit something in order to do it. Schooling was all for me. Okay, I need to help other people. So I asked those questions. Why not now? Why not? I took a basketball team on. I thought, I can't do another thing. So every place in my life where it's let me invest in someone else, I had made those priorities over anything that was for me. Because if I can invest in someone else, something that I have, that is so much more. The reward is so much greater, and it helps me even farther on my path. Because it's not about me. So I want to do a quick thing on my testimony here. So all of you probably know this or don't know this. I had cancer, okay? As a kid, I didn't like God. As a kid, I was 18. I went on a quest to disprove all religions because I was like, I don't want anything to do with anything that's going to tell me anything of what I'm supposed to do. Right? I'm going to go my way because I'm that way. Okay? Cancer happens when I'm younger. And I'm going to say this. God did not give me cancer. God used my cancer. So just like Samson, I'm a young dude. I'm a stud. I don't need nothing. I'm good. Let's go. Right? I get cancer. Let's see. It was the last, cancer. You look like Skeletor. If you don't know who Skeletor is, I was emaciated and very, very tiny and small and skinny. Anyway, I'm in this point. It's my last day of chemo, right? Last day of chemo. Every time they do chemo, it's like there's 8 people. They kind of sit them close together. The idea is it's kind of probability. One guy is probably having a decent day and can hopefully make the others feel okay. So they always keep you grouped up. That's the strategy of this. Okay, isn't that weird? But that's the strategy. So for whatever reason on this one day, my last day, I'm feeling terrible, by the way. I'm puking. I can't hold food down. It's just awful. I get put off in the auxiliary room. Now, I'll tell you this. I love my mom. Okay, she's with me. But come on, I'm a boy and my mom. So she finally goes to sleep. I'm laying there and I'm feeling just terrible. And this is the moment I decided, like Samson, I don't want to do this anymore. I proved God to be the only God. I knew he was truth, but I still didn't want anything to do with it because I don't want somebody telling me what to do. So in that moment, when I was down and out, I'm down in that chair, I prayed because I knew he was right. God, I know I don't talk too much. Just take my life. I don't want to be alive anymore. And I seriously prayed that. Like I wanted him to kill me. I was so done. And then in that moment, chest, little fist kind of thing, and I could just take this massively deep breath, and I just knew everything was going to be okay. And as soon as I knew that, I accepted Jesus Christ into my life, and I was going to go the way. So I have a life-defining moment that started my path. Some of you maybe had this real nice one, and that's great. God is God. He uses whatever he wants to use to get a hold of you. I was so stubborn and thick-headed, it took a cancer to get me that low to want to die, to even think about having a life with Jesus Christ. So we fast forward. Life happens. I have kids. Again, trying to stay on the path. I'm still doing my 2 step forward, 1 step back, 2 step. And I just keep going. I keep going. I have my kids. Okay, and then what happens? My cancer comes back. I remembered my first time with cancer. I didn't use it for anything but myself. It was everything about me, how I felt, how I was going to do, what I was going to do, what I could eat, whatever. It was me. Okay. If I fast forward my path, I've been down my path. I'm a good ways into my path. This opportunity shows up, and I call it an opportunity, even though I'm going to tell you this right now, I never in my life want to have cancer again. Okay? But I get it. This time, though, I had a mission. It's not about me. So faith greater than fear was a tagline we did, okay? And I believe that wholeheartedly. And if God wanted to take my life after all this, okay. He gave it to me back here. If it's his to take, he can take it. That's fine. And I have to be okay with that. So I used it this time to be the opposite of me. I don't know how many of y'all saw those faith greater than fear or was a part of that. I made sure it was not about me. I don't want to be about me. So then again, you hear me talking about my path going forward. I had to quit school. That's about me. Like, I'm hugely motivated to not be about me. How can I get someone else to be better? Go bigger. Be stronger. That's what I want. That's where I want to go. That's what I want to take all of you. Every time I see you guys, I want to encourage you. I want you to, let's go. Let's do stuff. Let's be awesome. Right? Let's both of us go take 2 steps forward and take 1 step back. Sure. Both of us do it at the same time. Why not? So when I say, why not now? Why not? An active life is active. Again, I have ADHD, so it's easy for me to run around. Okay. What are you doing? And then whatever you're doing, are you doing it to help anyone? And then as you go through this, you're going to think about this. There's probably areas in your life where you're like, I'm just going to keep walking backwards. Because I'm not going that way. My friend at work, I never planned even to talk to him about God at all. For whatever reason in my head, I just never thought about it. It was like a mental block. So we did work, we did everything. I was constantly doing stuff with this guy. Never even thought to talk about it. And I told James, if you wouldn't have had COVID, right, you wouldn't have got me to start thinking about preaching on Sunday. First, I would have probably never talked to this guy about this. I said, did you realize, you being out activated someone else to do something? And not even that, it activated me to do something somewhere else. James was like, isn't that nuts? I never planned on it. I really didn't. I really did not actively wake up that morning and say, I'm going to talk to, I don't want to say his name, but talk to him about Jesus. I didn't. So you go into today, think about what you could be doing today, maybe even tomorrow, right? Be open. And the path is rough. It's not going to be comfortable, but you got to do it, unless you don't want to be on the path. If you're on the path, go. I used to love that. Jesus says, go, make disciples. He doesn't say, go and then stand still. Go. Go. Even if it's uncomfortable. And I'll tell you this, I suck often. I'm awful sometimes. It's terrible. But I still want to go, right? So it's okay to do the next thing wrong. Just try to do the next thing right. And it's okay to take a sideways step on a path, but you got to continue to go forward. So own your mess up, claim your second chance because it's a gift that you were given, and move forward. I don't know if this is a charge for you, but I am activated by this. And I know it's truth. Use those opportunities. I'm going to close with prayer. Bow your heads, please. Lord, I praise you and thank you for who you are and how you lead. I praise you and thank you for the people in this room that heard and are activated to do something. Lord, I pray that activation keeps moving, keeps going, and becomes part of their DNA, that they want to move down the path as straight as they can, as fast as they can. Lord, thank you so much for giving us Jesus and giving us the access to the second chance, these second chances, this infinite amount of second chances, so that we can continue down this path. We know it's hard. We know it will be hard. We know getting started is hard. We know activating is hard. It's all difficult. But the end is so absolutely beautiful. Pray that they see that, Lord. I pray that you're with them in their ventures, Lord. I pray that you're with them when they take that next right step. Be with us as we go on into our Sunday. Be with us as we go into our groups. I praise you and thank you, Lord. I ask your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. You guys are released.